this series of videos, we will be looking at topics in Algebra 1. In this lesson, we will be focusing primarily on the order of operations.
All right, hi everybody. So in this video here, we're going to take a look at the order of operations. Okay, that's a really important idea. It's really the basis of a lot of algebra that we do. Okay, is understanding the order of operations. In fact, if you're online on Facebook or on social media, oftentimes you get these little challenges that go around, and they'll say, you know, here's some sort of mathematical statement, and only the top 5% or the top 2% are going to be able to figure out what's going on here. The vast majority of those can be solved very simply by just understanding order of operations. The problem is most people don't. Okay, once you've gone through school and you've done it in school, then you leave school, you start to forget those things if you don't practice them on a regular basis, and I mean that's understandable. But anyway, what we want to do is we just want to go over the order of operations and just make sure that they're clear. Now, when we teach it here, we call it bed mass. Okay? Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, and we go through it this way. So we start with brackets and exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Now I know some people call it ped mass or whatever, you know, parentheses, exponents. That's fine, whatever. We're just calling it different things here. But what I want you to understand about this, and I think what might clarify some stuff here, is that this can actually be broken down into these groups. Okay, brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Because it's not true, for example, that division must come before multiplication. Okay, it's not necessarily true. These two operations are kind of two sides of the same idea. So, I mean, really, this could have been BEMDAS. Okay, we could have put those in a different order. It just doesn't sound quite as right. Okay, just same thing here with addition, subtraction. Addition and subtraction are, again, two sides of the same sort of operation there. Okay, because remember, you can always think about subtraction as adding a negative. Okay, we can always think about division as multiplication by the reciprocal. Like they can be considered the same operation. So the order between these two, when you're looking at just division, multiplication, that should always be left to right. Left to right. Now, with brackets and exponents, you've got to be a little bit flexible with that as well, although typically you want to do brackets and then exponents here, but there are times where again you can play with the order there a little bit as well. Okay, but you've got to understand kind of the whole concept before you can get comfortable and play with those rules a little bit. Okay, let's just dive in and start doing a bunch of examples here. So for example, 4 multiplied by 5 plus 8. Well, we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first, or the brackets first, and 5 plus 8 is 13. So this becomes 4 multiplied by 13. 4 multiplied by 3 is we're going to drop that 2, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1, 52. Okay? So what's inside first, and then we multiply through. Now, we could have done distribution. Okay, but this is, again, the more comfortable you get with the rules, the more you're going to be able to play with the order a little bit. You could have distributed the 4 through and gotten 20, okay, plus 32 and gotten 52 as well. But again, we're here to talk strictly about order of operations, but that is something that you can do. And in that case right there, you are still dealing with in fact, we might as well talk about that. We're still dealing with the parentheses first. Okay, I'm dealing with the fact that 4 is being multiplied through that set of parentheses, and so we could have made that 20 plus 32 and gotten 52 as a result as well. But either way, I've either got to add what's inside there first, what's inside the parentheses, or deal with the multiplication across the parentheses. Where people make a mistake is if they just multiply 4 by 5, then they haven't actually dealt with the brackets yet. Okay, that's the mistake that they make there. If they just multiply 4 times 5 and then they just add the 8, that's incorrect. Over here, 6 times 2 times 7. This is just a list of multiplication, so we simply do it in order from left to right. So 6 times 2 is 12 times 7. 12 times 7, 84. 63 divided by 9 plus 8. Okay, well now we've got division and addition here. We are going to do the division first. So 63 divided by 9 is going to be 7, plus 8, and then we can add those together to get 15. Okay? We give priority to the division. Number 4. Now here's an important switch there. So 3 plus 5 times 4. Okay. It would be very common for people to simply go 3 plus 5 is 8 times 4 is 32. But that's not the way you're supposed to read that. We give priority to multiplication. Okay? Multiplication comes before that addition. So 5 times 4 is 20, and 3 plus 20 is 23. Okay? So you need to know that. The more comfortable you are with these rules, the easier algebra gets later on when you start to manipulate the variables. That's because the variables obey the exact same rules that numbers obey. Okay, here I've got addition and subtraction, but again, addition and subtraction are kind of two faces of the same idea. So we're just going to carry this thing through left to right. So 10 plus 8, 18 minus, minus 11, and 18 minus 11 is 7. 10 minus 36 divided by 4. Okay, again, because we've got subtraction and division here, we are going to give priority to the division. So 10 minus, now 36 divided by 4 is going to be 9. And now 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay, well, you don't do the subtraction before the division. You're always going to do that division first. Okay, now we're back to brackets again. And remember, there were, just like we did in that first one, there's two different ways we can deal with this. Now, because we're dealing with numbers here, the most obvious thing to do is to go 6. I pointed right at it and said 6. 12 minus 1 is 11. And when you multiply that through, 6 times 11 is going to be 66. Now, that is dealing with brackets by dealing with the operation inside. Another way that you can deal with the brackets first is by distributing. So 6 times 12, okay, 72, minus 6 if you multiply the 6 by the negative 1, and that also, when you do the subtraction now, gets you 66. So again, you can deal with the brackets in two different ways here, by dealing with what's inside first or by distributing. Okay, but please make sure that if you're going to multiply through, that you are distributing, okay? That is how you are dealing with the brackets correctly in terms of order of operations. Okay? Now, distribution doesn't quite work the same way if you've got division here. Okay? In fact, yeah, you really couldn't work that through. You can't go 56 divided by 4 plus 56 divided by 4. That just doesn't work like that. Okay? If you'd had 4 plus 4 divided by 56, then you could go 4 divided by 56 plus 4 divided by... That you can actually do. But you can't do it this way here. So you actually have to deal with this, what's inside the parentheses here, first. With division, it's always going to be a really good idea just to do it that way. Anyway, so this is going to become 56 divided by 4 plus 4 is 8. And then 56 divided by 8 is 7. Now, by the way, the reason for that, the reason why we're restricted right there is order sort of matters for division and subtraction. Now, you can argue by changing the numbers a little bit that, well, no, it doesn't. But really, at the face value, just as you read these questions, yeah, it does. If you've got like 5 minus 2 or 2 minus 5, you change the order, you change the value. 56 divided by 8, 8 divided by 56, you change the value here. Now, if you're willing to change the form of the number, you can get away with changing the order. Okay, but you've got to do two things together to make that work. Okay, so just so that you understand what I'm saying here is, if we've got 5 minus 3, that is the same as negative 3 plus 5. Okay, I changed the order, but I brought that negative up front and made it a subtraction. So you do have a little bit of freedom in that way if you're comfortable enough with the numbers to do that. Just like we could play with division a little bit, but most of the time that's not obvious how to make that kind of a change here. So all this to say, when you've got 56 divided by 4 plus 4, you really should do that, what's in brackets here first, and then the division. Okay? as opposed to what we did here where we could have dealt with the parentheses in two different ways. Division is a little bit more restrictive. This one right here, again, we were just talking about that. Division is a little bit more restrictive, so let's deal with what's inside the parentheses here. Now I've got two different sets of parentheses. So you go initially into the innermost set, okay, and then you work your way out. So this becomes 20 divided by 5 minus, well, okay, 11 minus 8 is 3. So this is the same as 20 divided by 5 minus 3. Well, 5 minus 3 is 2. And again, we're doing what's inside the parentheses here. And then again, because that is the smarter, more direct way of doing that. And then finally, 20 divided by 2 is 10. So the answer overall that we're looking for here is 10. Okay, now over here we've got division, subtraction, and then parentheses here. Now I could do a couple of these steps at the same time because I know subtraction is going to be the last operation that I do, and this division and this set of parentheses here aren't connected to each other. They are separated by that subtraction. So I can actually do this bit separate from this bit. Okay? Now, if I was going to be really strict about the order of operations in one thing at a time, I would do the 6 minus 4 first. Okay? But I can also do 50 divided by 5 is going to be 10. Minus, there's my subtraction here, 6 minus 4 is 2. So this becomes 10 minus 2, and we know that that's just 8. Over here, okay, now we've just got a list of addition and subtraction, and so here we simply do this from left to right. Okay, don't worry about doing subtraction last or whatever here. We just go left to right here. So 8 plus 9 is 17. Whoops. 17 plus 6 is 23. And then 23 minus 5 is going to equal 18. Over here. Okay, now here, because I've got the set of parentheses here first, in this case you can actually do the distribution. Okay, because we can treat this 6 plus 15 as being multiplied by the reciprocal. That really was the issue here. I can change, because the division works like this, I've got the set of parentheses here divided by 7. I can make this multiplied by 1/7, and then I have a little bit more freedom to play with the order that I do this in. Up here, it's a little less clear how this becomes the reciprocal. You're far better off just adding that together first. Now here, again, although I do have the ability to kind of go 6 divided by 7, 15 divided by 7, I could do that and deal with the parentheses here first. I'm going to do it a different way here. I'm going to go 6 plus 15, 21, divided by 7 minus 1. Then we'll do the division. 21 divided by 7 is 3. And 3 minus 1 is just 2. Okay, that works out a lot nicer than trying to go 6 divided by 7, 15 divided by 7, and in that way dealing with the parentheses there first. That gives me fractions, and I'd want to avoid that if I can. Okay, next, 8 plus 10 times 5 plus 12. Okay, so I've got kind of a list of addition and multiplication, but I'm going to do the multiplication first. So 10 times 5 is 50. So now that I've dealt with that little bit here, now we just add straight across here. And actually, I'll show you a little shortcut here. Order does not matter with addition. Okay? Order does not matter with addition. If all I got is a bunch of adding together, I can do this in a different order here. Now, I can go 8 plus 50 to get 58, plus 12 would get me 70. Or, an easier way to do this, I can group together here the 8 and the 12 to get 20, and add that to 50 to get 70. If it's just addition across there, I can play with that a little bit. But just going in order from left to right, if you're a little unsure, that's the best way to do it. Now I've got a set of parentheses here, okay, with a division outside, but I'm going to deal with what's inside first. Okay, And I'm going to go left to right here because I've got addition and subtraction here. And as soon as you throw a subtraction in there, okay, well, order starts to become a little bit more important, or at least it's a concern. Okay, if you treat that as add -9, well, then you can manipulate it how you want. But if you're going to see that as a subtraction, okay, order is an issue here. 8 plus 25, okay, is going to be 33. Whoa, that's right. Saw the 4, wrote it down there. 33 minus 9 is going to be 24. And 24 divided by 4 is equal to 6. All right, 5 minus 3 times 49 divided by 7. Okay, okay. Well, we have got a parentheses here first. And again, it's being multiplied, so I mean, I could very easily distribute the 49 through, but let's not worry about that. Let's kind of stick with our rules here. Let's do parentheses first. So 5 minus 3 is 2 times 49 divided by 7. So now I've got multiplication and division. And so when I do that, again, order becomes a little important. I mean, unless I'm willing to change that to multiplied by 1 over 7, multiplied by the reciprocal, so that's multiplication, and then order doesn't matter for multiplication. If you're going to leave that as division, then you really should go left to right here. So 2 times 49 is 98 divided by 7, and 98 divided by 7 is 14. Okay? So I hope you're kind of catching what I'm saying here, particularly with division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Because you can see division as multiplying by the reciprocal, and you can see subtraction as adding the negative, okay, there's a little bit of freedom in there. But if you're going to leave it as division or leave it as subtraction, then you need to really follow the rules here and go left to right. Okay, so 6 times 9 divided by 3. Now, in this case right here, those parentheses are not necessary. Okay, I could, as my first step, for example, just drop them. Because it's multiplication in here and division out here, I would simply do it in order left to right here. So 6 times 9, okay, is going to be 54. Sorry. And then 54 divided by 3 is 18. Oops. Okay, just left to right there. All right. Now, I've been waiting for these ones to come up here. One of the things that I see students struggle with a lot when it comes to algebra is this line right here. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that most of us understand that line means division. Okay? And that's true. That's totally true. However, it implies something else, and I need to make sure that everybody gets this. Okay? That bar there implies one other little thing here, and we need to make sure that that's clear before we move on, and that is it implies a set of brackets or parentheses around the numerator and denominator. Now, the crazy thing about that is that when we throw numbers in there, most people instinctively do it correctly. Most people will do the numerator operations, will do the denominator operations, and then do the division. Okay, so like we know, for example, that division is supposed to come before addition, subtraction. But when people see that bar, they also know that they're supposed to do the numerator work first, the denominator work first, and then do the division. The division goes last, and that's because of the implied set of parentheses here. Where this falls apart is when people transition over to algebra, and as soon as there's letters in there, we start to do the order of operations differently. People try to do the division before they do the addition, subtraction. Okay, and I mean, I understand why. I completely understand why. Sometimes when we look at this, especially when there's letters in there, they get kind of worried that they're doing things wrong. And so if they see that there's like an operation that they could possibly do, or they see a connection between the numerator and denominator, they immediately assume that they can just like divide right away. But you have to do what's inside first. You've got to do the operation up in the numerator. You've got to do the operation down to the denominator before you can do that division. Before. So this really needs to become 44 minus 2 is 42. 3 plus 3 is 6. So I've dealt with what's in parentheses. Even though there were no parentheses initially there, they were implied. 42 divided by 6 is 7. And 7 plus 8 is 15. Okay, that's an important one. Okay, over here. 4 plus 5 in parentheses times 35 divided by 5 plus 13. Okay. Okay, well, first thing we're going to do here is what's inside the parentheses here. So 4 plus 5, okay, 4 plus 5 is going to be 9 times 35 over 5 plus 13. Okay, now you can do this a couple of different ways. You really, really can. And I'm going to show you the two different ways here, and then you can kind of decide how you want to do this. What I would do to start off with here is because we've got 9 multiplied by 35 divided by 5, that's what that means. In essence, I would kind of want to do this left to right here. So I would be very tempted to multiply 9 by 35 over 5. What you've got to remember is that when you're multiplying by a fraction, this is like 9 over 1 multiplied by 35 over 5. And so this becomes 315 over 5 plus 13. 9 times 35 is 315. 1 times 5 is 5. And then we've got the plus 13 at the end there. 315 divided by 5 is 63. And then 63 plus 13 is going to be 76. That's one way of doing it. Okay? Or I had 9 multiplied by 35 over 5 plus 13. Or another way that I could do this, because multiplication and division, like I said, I had a little circle around them here. Okay? Because they're basically two sides of the same coin there, I do have a little bit of freedom here. So actually, I would probably be more inclined to do 35 divided by 5 first. Okay? Now, I'm still 9 times 35 divided by 5. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this division before the multiplication. So that becomes 9 times 6 plus... Oh, I'm so sorry. 35 divided by... Wow. Okay. I don't know where that came from. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Ugh. Okay, that's embarrassing. I'm not going to deny it. I'm a little humiliated at this point here. 35 divided by 5 is 7, plus 13. 9 times 7 now is 63, plus 13, and we're right back up to 76. Okay, so a little bit of freedom there. A little bit of freedom. Again, it's because of the relationship there. Now, if you're going to be really, really strict about things going left to right here, you'll still get the same answer. Just, again, we want you to be aware of the rules and the things that you can do within the rules. Okay? Let's keep going here. Oh, again, parentheses here. 45 divided by 2 plus 3 plus 4. Okay? And again, that line there implies those parentheses. So this is 45 divided by 2 plus 3 plus 4. Well, 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9. 45 divided by 9 is 5, and then minus 2, and we get an answer of 3. Over here, same thing. We've got parentheses around numerator and denominator. It's just that in this case here, there's a little bit more involved in this denominator. The numerator stays the same at 60. But now what I've got here is I've got 8 multiplied by 7 minus 6 minus 3. So I got to do the inner set of parentheses first. So 7 minus 6, well, that's easy. That's 1. And so we've got 8 times 1 minus 3. Well, 8 minus 3 is just 5. Okay, because again, we have to do what's in parentheses. And even though those parentheses aren't always written, that bar means that they're there. 60 divided by 5 is 12. All right, now I know this is seems like it's getting a little bit long here, but there are reasons for why we're doing so many here. Okay, 7 times 16 divided by 4 minus 9 plus 5. Again, that subtraction separates this into two different pieces that can be done simultaneously. So 7 times 16 over 4, I could multiply 7 over 1 by 16 over 4, okay? I could do that, and when you multiply that out there, you get 112 over 4. But being kind of the lazy person that I am, I want to take advantage of the relationship between multiplication and division here. I'll do the division first. So this becomes 7 times 4 minus, and then I'll do what's in parentheses here. 9 plus 5 is 14. Okay? So 7 times 4 is 28, minus 14, and the answer is 14. Same sort of question here, very, very similar. That subtraction breaks things up. That bar there implies parentheses around the numerator and denominator. But because of that subtraction, I'm going to split this up into two different parts here. So 2 times 8 is 16, minus this is going to be 20 divided by 5. I'll do that operation first. Now I'm going to do this division. Before I do that subtraction, I've got to do the division. So this becomes 16 minus 4, and the answer is 12. Okay. My next one, again, doing what's inside the parentheses here first. Now, there's multiplication with the parentheses. So I could deal with the parentheses by distributing, but then I'm going to get 3 different terms here. It'd probably be easier just to combine that. And actually, in this case, it is a whole lot easier because 12 plus 2 minus 2. Well, that whole plus 2 minus 2, because bear in mind, as I go from left to right here, okay, sorry, because I have addition multiplication, I can go left to right here. But those two operations are very, very related. 12 plus 2 is 14, minus 2 puts me right back to 12. Those 2 minus 2 cancel. So I've got 12 multiplied by 8 minus 1. Do the multiplication. 12 times 8 is 96, minus 1, and so my answer is 95. All right. 36 divided by 6 multiplied by 80 divided by 2 over 5. Sorry, 2 times 5. Okay, again, I put parentheses around there because I want to do that first. Okay, now, because I've got really just division and multiplication here, I can do this in a couple of different ways here. I could just multiply 36 by 80 and 6 by that 2 times 5 there. I'm going to get a big number in the numerator. So because I can kind of play with the order of that a little bit here, I am going to. Now, I'm not going to play with the order so much that I'm going to go, okay, this is 36 divided by 6 multiplied by 80. I'm not going to go, well, 6 times 80 and then go 36 divided by that. I'm not going to do that. These two are linked together. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Then I'm going to do what's in the denominator first as I have to. That's going to be divided by 10. Well, 80 divided by 10 is 8. And then I'm going to get 48. Now, if you're wondering what I was talking about by going, well, 6 times 80, I've got a question coming up here in just a moment that's going to illustrate that. But I want to make these things easier for me, and often doing the division first makes the rest of the expression easier to do. So it's always a good idea to simplify if you can. And division and subtraction are ways of simplifying. Okay, I've got this set of parentheses here with a multiplication. Again, I could distribute that 2 through, but I don't want to right now. I want to simplify what's inside here. And I'm going to do that by doing this multiplication first. So 3 plus 18 plus 3 minus 5 times 2. Okay, well, I've still got to do what's inside the parentheses. I'm going to do it left to right. So 3 plus 18 is going to be 21. Plus 3 is 24. Minus 5, 24 minus 5 is 19. And then 19 times 2 is 38. Almost there. So here, once again, I've got division, multiplication, parentheses and whatnot. I am going to put parentheses around that denominator because I got to do that first. Okay. This is 8 divided by 7 minus 3. Those two are linked together, so I can't really multiply, okay, unless I'm going to multiply 8 plus 1 over 1. Okay, numerator and then denominators together. But I'm actually going to probably do this in order here. I'm going to do what's in the parentheses here first. 8 divided by 4 multiplied by 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, times 3 here. All right. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay. 2 times 9 is 18. And 18 times 3 is going to be 54. Now, my last one right here, okay, it's just a series of divisions, but they're written across like this. It's 36 divided by 6 divided by 2. Now, I have watched students do this incorrectly so many times. I want to make sure that you understand what's going on here. Later on in your math, you're very likely going to do a lesson on something called logarithms, exponents and logarithms. And I've watched students mess up a question on logarithms. It took me a long time to realize what they were doing wrong. And it boiled down to doing a question very similar to this, but they inadvertently did it backwards. When you've got a list of division like this, you must start left to right, okay? Because you will get two different answers if you do this in the wrong order. And that's kind of what I meant by when I was talking about these questions over here. Like 36 divided by 6 multiplied by 80 divided by 2 times 5. This 36 divided by 6, you would not multiply 6 by 80. Like this could be written like 36 divided by 6 multiplied by 80 divided by 2 times 5. You would not do that 6 times 80 first, okay? Because like I said before, if you're going to leave division as division, well then order sort of matters there. And in that case, you do actually want to do that division before the multiplication. You do want to simplify that, okay? Now in a lot of cases you got some freedom here, but you certainly, when you've got it listed off like this, you certainly do want to do that division first there. So, and left to right there, right? So here, 36 divided by 6 divided by 2. If you do it in the wrong order, if you do 6 divided by 2, and this is not true, this is not equal to 36 divided by 3, which would be equal to 12. That's not true because you've gone in the wrong order. The correct answer is 36 divided by 6 is 6 divided by 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. That is the correct order. Okay, so please, when you got a list of these going off left to right here, do it in the order left to right. Even here with this question right here, if I had gone through and done it like this, I'd have gone 36 divided by 6 is 6. And then I could then multiply by 80 and then divide by 2 times 5. That would still get me 48. Okay, that would still give me that answer I'm looking for. So left to right is important in those situations there. So please remember that.